Welcome to Freedom Friday at the River. I'm Lisa. I don't have a guest with me today, but I do have a testimony. I was unable to get the man to come in to tell it, so I'm going to tell it for him. I said that this is the first story time I think we've done, and we may do more of it because a lot of times when people get set free, it can be a private matter, and so I will just retell the story anonymously. I'm so excited about this one because the joy on his face was so real as he told me how God had set him free. Now, we were shut down here in the church for a couple weeks doing a self quarantine, and I actually can see the comments. Hey, Debbie, I'm able to see those today. So if you have questions, I may be able to put those up on here. I also can see that this is messed up. So welcome. Okay. Now here's the story. I said there are five words that the Lord gave to this man that completely set him free. So I'm going to tell you the story of how that happened. Okay. During this shutdown time of quarantine, he began to come underneath of a terrible assault of the mind. He said that thoughts tormented him, things that he, as a godly man, did not want to do. Immoral things, immoral thoughts, a myriad of things. And he said, I was thinking, Lisa, if we could just come, he and his wife come into the office, we could just seek the Lord and find out what was going on. So he just began to pray about that and say, man, what is going on with my head? Have you ever done that? Even as a believer, thoughts start coming into your head. You're thinking, this is not godly, what's going on? But it seems so real, and the compelling seems so real. Well, he was doing a video series that we, from our ministry team, we love to recommend. It's called Free Indeed series by Robert Morris, or Gateway Church out of Texas. And you can find that on YouTube. And he was doing that session. And it wasn't Robert, but it was one of the other guys. And he was talking about this man who was addicted to, I think it might have been smoking, some kind of addiction, but I think it was smoking or tobacco. And he was saying, man, this thing torments me and I cannot get it to let go of me. Well, the man said that he began to say, that is not who God created you to be. So out of your mouth, begin to say, God did not call me to be a smoker. I'm not a smoker, or whatever addiction it was he wanted to get rid of. And he said that began to break over his life. Well, this man that I was talking to said, the Lord said, you need to confess that you are not, he said, you need to confess that you are a moral man. Up until this moment, this man had no idea that in his heart, in his psyche, in his thought processes, he believed he was an immoral man. And he said he can remember all the way back to the age of like 3 or 4, believed he was an immoral man then. Now, if you have a core belief that you are immoral or a bad person, there's some fruit that may come out of that. And when the Lord said, begin to confess, I am a moral man. Now, this isn't like a mind over matter. This is speaking and professing the truth of God. So with a smile on his face, he said to me, I said, the torment was coming into his mind. So he said, I am a moral man. The power of God met that profession of faith and set that man free. All tormenting thoughts, all the temptations broke off of him. Some people don't think confession's important, but it is through our confession that we're saved. There are power in our words. He told me after that throughout the day, if he began to have a thought that lined up with that original lie or was a temptation, he would say, I am a moral man. And he laughed and he said, I can't even say that without smiling every time. And then when I would say that back to him, you are a moral man, he would grin because he believed it. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to tell this story to you is because there may be lies that you or I believe that we're not aware of. He didn't realize that. I mean, he's a godly man, loves his family, an awesome man, yet in his core belief system was he was immoral. And because he believed that lie that the enemy had sown when he was 3 or 4 years old, the enemy was able to come and attach himself to that. I always say that if you've got unfinished business, that you are a sticky place. When the enemy comes, it can make it stick. So here's what I recommend doing is asking the Lord, God, is there any lie that I believe about myself that's not true? Now, you particularly are going to want to do this if you are being tormented. Does the Bible not say, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee? That's the pattern. That's our orders to do that. If part of that is not working, first you make sure you're submitted to God. And if you are resisting those thoughts that are happening over and over again, and the enemy is not fleeing, it's not because the word's not true, it's because perhaps he has a right. He has a deed to something. So what you do is you say, okay, God, I'm submitted to you. I believe. If I'm not, you need to let me know. I'm resisting the enemy. And by resisting, you can use the scripture. You can use the word to resist. You can command the enemy to go. You can say, I'm not thinking about that thought. But if you continually find yourself in a battle, then back up and say, okay, God, is there a lie that I believe? And maybe he'll say, you believe you're unworthy. Maybe he'll say, you believe that what Papa whatever said about you being stupid is true. Then all you have to do when he shows you that lie is come out of agreement with it, like this man did. And you verbally do that. And it can be really uncomfortable when you realize you believe a lie about yourself. The other night, I didn't release this, but I felt like there was someone in the congregation who felt unworthy. And my first thought was, who told them that? Because God never says you're unworthy. The evidence is very clear that he thinks we're very valuable. Gave his son for us. Everything he has, he's made available to us. So obviously it's not God that says we're unworthy. Do you know who says you're unworthy? Well, let me tell you a story to go with this story. There was a man who had a Picasso painting, which those are some, I'm not an art person anyway, so maybe you think it's beautiful, but for me, when I see a Picasso, I'm like, I'm not sure how that happened, but if you appreciate it, go ahead and appreciate it. But he liked art just fine, but he saw the value in Picasso like I would. And one day he had a yard sale, and so he sells this art for the same price about what the frame is worth, $5 or $10. Someone picks up that painting because they know the value of it, and now they have the ability to pay off all of their debt, all of their bills. They can either keep this painting because they find value, or they can sell it and pay everything off and have money left over. Well, let me tell you, who told you that you are unworthy? Do you know that it's Satan? And he is a horrible gauge person. Just like that person who couldn't find value in the painting. Do you know that Satan found no value in heaven? He traded heaven for this garbage that he is now. You see? He found no value in the Father. He found no value in his position. He found no value in heaven. He traded it. The same one that traded heaven for this terrible position that he is in now is the one who tells you that you're unworthy. And unfortunately, we will listen to that crazy voice who's trying to sell you an expensive painting for $5. I mean, that's what he's doing. And oftentimes we'll take it. So what we need to do is align ourselves with truth. Now, it's not only lies that will keep the torment coming. If you've watched any of these Freedom Fridays, you also can notice that unforgiveness can be a trap door where the enemy can stick. Unrepentance. So you just gauge if you're being tormented in the mind, check that. A friend of mine said to me this week, she said, Lisa, I hate to confess this, but I am being tormented. Now listen, don't tell me that during COVID people aren't being tormented, because they are. And if they're not tormented with offense, maybe fear, maybe loneliness, all kinds of things. Well, as Christians, we can resist those things and they can go. But if they're not going, we need to check why. And this woman did that. I think she said, for 2 or 3 days, I have been under assault. And she said, I just want to uncover something. Lisa, when you posted so and such, it offended me horribly. And this didn't offend me that she said that, because what I knew is she's exposing the darkness. She said, it offended me, it hurt my feelings, and I let her know, I thought I was just saying, yay, go, go, go. But there was a twisting that occurred. You know what she told me later? She said, once I exposed it, it all left. The torment of the mind left. Now, I'm going to finish this with telling you, get whatever's in the darkness into the light. This man that I just told you the story about, that what was in the hidden, the thought that he actually believed he was an immoral man, got put into the light. When he confessed the truth came into the light, smashed that down and exposed it. You know what revival is all about? It's exposing darkness and allowing the truth and the light of the word to come in. Okay, so this has been a short Freedom Friday, but I hope you're encouraged. I hope that you will take a look at any area where you may be struggling and say, okay, God, this is not my inheritance. Show me what it is, because I am a worthy person. You said I am, and that's what I am. I am what you said I am. So ask God not just what lies you believe, but ask him what the truth is, and then speak that truth.